Andrew's just told me the worst joke in the entire world.
Is this going on this? Is this going out?
No, I think we'll save that for another.
Okay, the joke can stay for another.
I'll let you get to me, get to me. I'll let you get to me, I'll let you get to me, get to me. I'll let you get to me, I'll let you get to me, get to me. I'll let you get to me, I'll let you get to me, get to me.
I'm gonna kick off with a fun fact, a Steff fun fact.
Go for it, Steff.
So this here is officially the second cup of tea that I have ever had in my 32 years on the planet. Courtesy of Dr. Chappelle over here. He's introducing me to the land of tea.
Who knew? British and doesn't drink cups of tea. Here we go.
Another fun fact, I used to have a major phobia of tea bags, so that's why I never actually had tea. I'm still a bit creeped out by them, to be fair.
If you drank more cups of tea, you'd probably have more first places, though, let's be fair.
Oh my god! That was such a low blow. Coming from Mr. Second Place man over here, or third place man.
All the best we'll get. Now third place.
We have won some shows as well, by the way.
Yeah, one or two in my time. One or two.
Welcome! I hope that was a fun intro for you all. We are back for another table talk, and today's chat is that wonderful thing we all love in prep.
Cardiovascular exercise.
HIIT or LISS, as they say, LISS or HIIT, cardio, whatever shape or form. That looks like we're going to be discussing it.
Yeah, so by LISS we mean low intensity, steady state exercise, and then we're talking about high intensity training, so often referred to as sprint interval training as well, Tabatas,
HIIT of any nature, really.
Yeah, so this is what we're talking about. So I guess the first question is, do you do it, Steff, when you're getting ready for a contest, and do you do it in the off-season? And if you do, how much? I
don't do any. I just get ripped totally. 100%. No cardio whatsoever.
Really? Genuinely?
I'm just gonna put it out there. Anybody has you must have come up against that person that says, I don't do any cardio. It's utter bullshit, in my opinion. Yes is the answer to Andrew's question. I do cardio. I do a lot of cardio, and everybody's body is different in how they respond. But for me particularly, I have to do quite a lot of and a mixture of LISS and HIIT to get myself into the condition that I want to achieve as a natural figure competitor for my shape. So yes, I do. So
you do a lot. So let's roll it back then. So off season doing cardio?
No. So on the reverse side of a show, I will keep it a little bit in here and there. Yep. In my off season, I don't actually, when I get deep into my off season, I don't actually do any cardio at all. Yeah. I am focused predominantly on my weight training. I'll train 4 or 5 times a week. I might throw a few fun things in, like a yoga class or Pilates or something like that to keep my mobility and things taking over, but no to cardio. That's me.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I mean, just like yourself there, Steff, I mean, I do cardiovascular exercise largely when I'm getting ready for competitions. I mean, the research on this that I've done at the bodybuilders, and I mean, I've interviewed a lot of bodybuilders getting ready for competitions, and the sort of trend that I see is that everyone does cardio. Everyone's doing it. I mean,
everyone who's any good does cardio.
Yeah, I mean, this is true. I mean, there are levels to this, like I said before. I mean, and what is required to be in shape for the softer classes compared to the harder classes, at regional level compared to international level, I mean, it takes a lot more. So maybe there are certain circumstances and certain situations where you can get away with it. If people have got high activity output in terms of a job, or they actually move around a lot during the day, then I mean, this can account for a lot of cardiovascular exercise. But generally speaking, a lot of people are doing cardio. I mean, it's a lot. And as you mentioned, if you look at a bodybuilder at the start of their contest prep compared to the end of the contest prep, that cardio typically goes
starts to increase,
So just to throw some numbers at you here. I mean, your average competitor getting ready for the British finals is looking at around about 400 minutes of cardio a week. So that's around about 60 minutes a day.
Yes.
Yeah, and that can be split between doing HIIT or steady state. A lot of people do combinations of both different types of cardio, but
I think like on that combination.
Girls do more as well than guys, by the way. They typically do more than guys, yeah.
I can understand that. We have more fat stores, typically, being the childbearing women that we are. It's I
suppose the childbearing men that you are.
Well, yeah. That would just be a bit weird.
So, I mean, in terms of cardio... Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. So my last competition, and do you know what? I've done lots of cardio in different types of ways. So I've done HIIT after training sessions. I've done hours cardio in the morning and the hours cardio at night as well, along with like HIIT as well. And I've done it 7 days a week. You know what? I've done every diet plan, every training plan, every
we won't go to that time
cardio plan that. We'll not touch that. I've done them all. I've experienced them all. So I can come at it from a sort of experience sort of point of view, but I can come at it from the theoretical point of view. But that last prep that I did way back in 2017, I actually in the morning, what I did was I did 20 to 30 minutes of posing nearly every single day, 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week, for roughly about 5 to 7 months. So that's accounting that those isometric contractions, getting your heart rate up. It is cardio of sorts. So I mean that's what I did. Plus the job I had at that particular time. I mean I was a lecturer. I was running between the classes, teaching and things like that. So I was pretty physically active. In the past, I've had to include more cardio in my exercise regime, but I wasn't as physically active with the job. So that 30 to 40 minutes, on average 7 days a week that I was doing for that last prep, probably added up to what I would do usually in terms of additional cardio alongside the posing. So I mean, that's what I did my last prep. What about yourself? How much did you do, Steff?
Okay, so I'm similar to Andrew. I've done like a whole host of different approaches, but typically at the start of a prep, I will probably do 3 mornings of steady state cardio, which is kind of a typical thing bodybuilders do, and those sessions would probably consist of 20 to 30 minutes steady state at a roughly around 130 beats per minute for my heart rate, just keeping it kind of in a nice low zone there, but with a bit of exertion. That would then typically increase like in the duration, sort of the middle of my prep to about 35-40 minutes. And again, and I'd maybe do 4 mornings a week. And then towards the end of a prep, when I'm really like starting to up the ante again and just, pushing for that fat loss, I would maybe push that to 5 sessions a week, and they would go up to between 50 and 60 minutes, but I'd never go kind of over 60 minutes.
Sure.
That's my steady state. Post-workout, on my upper body days usually, or active rest days, I will include some HIIT work, which usually is a 15 to 20 minute HIIT session. Again, I would stage it. So at the beginning of my prep, I'd maybe do 2 of those a week. Towards the middle of my prep, I'd start to do 3 or 4 of those a week. And depending on how I'm looking or how I'm coming in, I would then either up those towards the end, or I might be coming in quite well, which, like, for example, in my Worlds prep, in the British Finals prep that I was doing 2017, I actually ended up tapering them back because I was losing quite a lot. Or I was certainly ahead of the game where I wanted to be. So it's monitoring where you're at, and I think a good combination, also how it fits in your lifestyle. Like at that point in time, my work was more office based, so I had to get something in before work, had to do it after, etc. And I was very much sedentary at that point, so I was behind the computer screen a lot of the time. That makes a difference. Huge difference, because of course the energy expenditure that I'm now using, I'm personal training all the time, coaching clients, I'm running around the gym. My energy expenditure is a lot higher than it was.
And you could calculate this quite easily. I mean, if you're the sort of person that's got an office job and you counted your steps, you could do 4,000 steps a day.
Exactly.
If you go to a more a job that you're doing just now, personal training, you might be up to 12,000 steps a day.
Exactly.
So your activity output, you're accounting for that extra cardio. That way, this time round, you maybe don't have to do as much in terms of cardio. That was
exactly what I was going to say. That approach worked for then because it fit in. You've got to remember, you've got your training sessions on top of that as well. So effectively, there's a lot I had to do there to make up for the time I wasn't on my feet during the day. But now obviously I've got that too, so it hopefully, looking at kind of the setup I've got now coming in for this year, I won't maybe have to do quite as intense an amount of cardio, but it still had to be done.
Here's the thing though, I mean, you've got to think about this. I mean, if you're doing that 60 minutes of cardio per day, you're doing the training session per day as well. You might be doing twice a day sessions, and certainly when I was posing, I'd be twice a day training as well. So I'd be posing in the morning, training at night, and then you might go and do cardio elsewhere.
Yeah.
That's a professional athlete's
great
thing, so you've got to be prepared for that as well. The other thing about cardiovascular exercise is just not that good as a fat burner. It's depressingly poor. And we can calculate...
Yeah, we spoke about this.
Yeah, we can. We can calculate how much energy you actually burn in terms of fat loss for your calories that you're putting out. So, for example, just sitting here just now, the pair of us sitting here, we're probably using around about 0.7 to 1 calorie in terms of oxygen consumption per minute. Which is like nothing. If we do exercise in that sort of so-called fat burning zone at 50 to 60% of our heart rate, then we only actually move up to around about 3 to 4 calories per minute. So actually in a 30-minute session, you might actually only burn about 120 calories.
Yeah.
So it's quite depressing when you do the sums. And this is why you see that if you can build activity into your day, then you can take care of some of these calories. And if you can see why you've got to do a lot. So these are important points that we're touching on here. So we've said how much.
Yeah. So
fasted.
Okay. So that's the next thing, isn't it?
I mean, I'll tell you why. For me, it just fits in with my lifestyle.
Well,
it just
actually, you're
fits
taking
in.
the words out of my mouth. I was going to say it's not. I've read up on both the arguments for fasted, against fasted, and there seems to be pros and cons with both arguments.
Sure.
For me, I agree. It's more of a routine thing. I like to get up. I don't like to have a full stomach. I don't like to eat before I do my cardio. I like to have my coffee. I might do a little apple cider vinegar mix. Sometimes I gave that a go in my last prep.
Because you like spending money. So
you can always count on Mr. Chappelle for making it very clear why things don't work.
So in terms of this...
Okay, no. Let's just park the apple cider vinegar for a second. Coffee, get on the treadmill or get outside or pound the streets or whatever you're doing, I prefer it that way as well. So it was a lifestyle choice for me too, rather than a reason for why it was fasted. Yeah, okay. I mean, and that makes sense. Like, I mean, the thing about the fasted cardio people argue is that because you're still in that catabolic state, you potentially burn through muscle tissue when you're going to go and do this exercise session. So perhaps having some branched chain amino acid or a protein shake before you start that's obviously accounted for in your calorie content will help you in some way negate that sort of effect. But if I look at, again, dietary habits of bodybuilders, a lot of them are doing fasted cardio. Pretty much all of us are. On our Instagrams, like Stepping on the Stepper, up again.
And you know what? A lot of them look good. So they've got a method which is effective for them to get in shape. It gets them in a lifestyle. And you could argue that they could be better, but you could say that about a lot of things. Yeah. Okay. So I've done fasty stuff before. It just fits in your lifestyle.
I think like from a bodybuilding perspective, like a prep perspective, mindset here. I'm just talking mindset with the fasted cardio thing. For me, it became like a ritual, and it does become a ritual actually. It gives you a small window of time before your day starts.
Sure.
To get your heart going, to get your breathing going, to get your your whole psychology going for the day ahead or whatever you're doing. And I actually found that was me time. That was like total
Loved
me time. Switch off. I could watch a podcast, listen to something I'm interested in, maybe even do some work whilst, it was just a period of time where you could kind of do your own thing and there were no added pressures. And actually when it came into kind of your summers or your lighter months and you're doing it outside, it feels great.
Yeah,
it feels really, really good.
I remember preps when I used to train in the morning and then I'd go and do the cardio afterwards. At that time it wasn't fasty, but I'd be walking along Aberdeen Beach in the summer. Fantastic. I mean, most of the time Aberdeen Beach is bleak as it comes, but you got those rare days walking along, beautiful
Just the sun
sunshine, sea
shining.
air.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Really, really good.
Fresh.
Good for your mental health.
Totally.
And you're in good shape as well. You feel healthy because you do get fitter as you progress with the cardio. And because of that, the cardio never gets any easier because you always have to increase the intensity
and that's it.
to stay in those zones which you're aiming for.
That kind of moves us into that actually, because that's really important that the body doesn't, that you don't get stagnant, and you start to change things up, whether that's incline, the speed, the duration.
Sure.
Yeah, all of those things play a part with the cardio as well. You don't want to let it be stagnant, really.
Sure. So what type of cardio then? What do you enjoy doing? So
I'm a treadmill and a walker girl.
Yeah,
I've tried everything. I've tried cross trainers. I've tried rowers. I remember doing one full prep on a cross trainer. Why did I do that? I have no idea. It was hell.
Does your coach tell you to do that and you just thought that would just do that?
Well, coaches, that's something we should talk about. But I've not actually ever had like a coach per se. I've always done things my own kind of way. I've had guidance here and there. But we'll talk about coaches and stuff as we go along. But so treadmill and walking. Yeah. I own a treadmill, which is currently not here, but I do own a treadmill. And I like to enjoy that session either early morning, roll out of my bed and get on it, or I'll get out and get on the pavement.
And just pound the pavement.
Pound the pavement.
Do you know, I mean, the advantage of the treadmill compared to the walking is that you can control the intensity. You can record that quite nicely.
I like the treadmill for that reason, yeah.
So there's a real advantage of doing it that way. You don't have to. I mean, I've just done walks. I've just gone outside in the morning, just power walk. Yeah. Yeah, you can do it like that as well. And then just set targets in terms of meeting distances.
That's exactly it.
Things like that.
Mean, certainly I find the treadmill quite... I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to like my details, so... Treadmill was always nice for me because I knew exactly what I was hitting. I could increase it. I can increase the incline. I can take the speed up. Yeah. So actually, I started off on the pavements doing it, but then as I start to get more focus, I make sure it's like on
but you can definitely do it on pavement streets. I mean, I've done it like that many times. I always walk when I do my cardio. I've done stuff on the bike. I mean, I've always found that a bit boring. I think it's easier to get my heart rate higher when using my arms as well, so walking, obviously, move my arms, quite good for that. If I want to do HIIT sessions though, I always find that using a cross trainer was better because you got the arms and legs involved at the same time doing that. I've done sprinting on a treadmill, I've enjoyed that.
That's my game.
Difficult to get my heart rate as high when I'm using a bike. Yeah. I just don't enjoy rowing that much. It's just not for me. And I've never had access to steppers. I mean, I know folk love to do steppers for their glutes, but I've just never had one for...
Stairmaster, the bodybuilders.
Yeah,
staple cardio piece
of
cardio.
I've never had one. I've just never had one for doing it in the gym close to me or anything like that to do it. So I don't really have any experience. I know people swear by it. Maybe it is great, but I've just never done it. I mean, walking backwards on them seems to be a habit for a lot of people, doesn't it? I've seen that. That was a trend for a while from there. Okay, so we've talked about types of cardio. Yeah. We do cardio. Let's talk about the fat burning zones, because I think I made a good point the other day there about the fat burning zones. So our fat burning zones, we say probably somewhere in the region of 60 to 70% of your maximum heart rate. And do you know what? We can calculate that actually precisely. What is your optimum fat burning zone? And we do it based on the amount of oxygen that you're consuming and the amount of CO2 that you expire and the amount of O2 that you expire. And you can get something called a respiratory coefficient. And you can actually work out with a pretty good degree of accuracy what your fat burning zone actually is. So if your RQ is down at, say, 0.7, you're burning more or less pure fatty acid. If it's up here at 1, then you're burning more or less pure carbohydrate.
So if somebody was wanting to figure out that number or that percentage for them specifically, how would they go about doing that?
You'd have to come into my lab. I'd have to take you in with my breath by breath analyzer and I'd have to do it. I'd have to get the Douglas bag. So we can actually do it.
Maybe I have a clip of that you took of me.
Oh yeah, we have a clip of that when you're lying.
I'll try and find that.
Not on the treadmill, but certainly have it. So that's how you would do it. And then we relate these heart rate zones to those varying degree of intensities that we know that you get these different RQ numbers at, and we say, okay, you're burning more fat in this zone, you're burning more carbohydrate in this zone. However, there are a few caveats. So when we first start exercising, we tend to burn more carbohydrate.
Yeah.
And then as the duration of the exercise prolongs, we start to burn more fatty acids. So people often talk about this magic number about 20 minutes, and then after that you really move more into the fatty acid burning zone. So that's why people say, okay, low intensity steady state should be so long in its duration. The other thing though is, however, as we get fitter, we start to be better at burning fatty acids.
Mm-hmm.
So actually that 20-minute window actually probably starts to decrease. And actually when you're at rest, or when you're between your sets, or even when you're doing sets, you start to burn more fatty acids as well. Yeah, it's definitely something that takes place. So
the fitter you get, the more fat you burn.
Yeah, so you get actually increases in your intramuscular fatty acid store. So really important stuff. Now, in terms of fatty acids, so we've got this magic number. We say 220 minus your age, maximum heart rate, and then we say 60-70% of that, we get that. Now that 60-70% and that 220 minus your age stuff, it's a total myth. Your 220, it's not actually real. I can tell you from reading enough physiology textbooks and doing enough people in the lab that I don't know where that number comes from. It's just made up, right? So there's a fitness myth that we can just burst right there.
Just literally people doing some random myth for years, all of us.
So now your fat burning zone itself, right? So we're saying 60-70%. You burn more fatty acid. But actually, in that fat burning zone, you're actually burning less calories as well, because you're consuming less oxygen, and we can work it out how much oxygen you're actually consuming, and we can work out exactly how much fatty acid you're burning. So 60-70%, let's say you're burning 50 litres of oxygen a minute. Mm-hmm. Maybe you're doing that, and you're burning 70% fatty acid. Well, if you start to exercise at higher intensity, say 70 to 80%, maybe you're working at 85%, still working aerobically if you're pretty fit, you might be burning, say, 40% fatty acid, but you might be going through 100 litres of oxygen a minute. Yeah. So proportionally, okay, well, as a percentage you're not burning as much, but the overall amount might be the same. Yeah. And actually you might even be burning more. Yeah. So we have to bear this in mind in terms of what we're talking about in terms of fat burning zones, but also we'll get fitter when we work at these higher intensities as well. The other caveat though is that it's practical application. So you might get more exhausted working at that higher intensity. You might be burning through more carbohydrate working at that intensity, and that carbohydrate in the muscle is what's going to keep you being able to be fueled appropriately for your resistance training exercises. Because the main aim of this is to training, muscle retention, and we don't want to jeopardize muscle retention. So cardio will affect your ability to metabolize fat, but it also could hamper your ability to retain muscle mass as well. Yeah. Does that all make sense, Steff? You happy with that?
Totally makes sense to me. So it's finding that sweet spot really between the mix of cardio, LISS, HIIT, whichever way you do it. Of course, everyone's different. Some people need more, some people need less.
Yeah. Some
people are happier taking calories out than having to do more expenditure.
Oh yes, it's much more effective. Yeah.
Yeah. So
in terms of reducing a deficit.
Exactly, reducing deficit, you take some calories out rather than having to go and smash yourself for another 2 hours doing whatever else.
Yeah.
So everyone's really, really specific. Again, it comes down to, I think, your acceptance that no matter what, you have to do cardio as part of the prep.
Or you at least you probably have to move about a bit.
You're going to have to move about a bit. So like this kind of myth that you know, when people say, "Oh, I don't have to do any cardio," I'd love to.
Certainly, I don't see it in high-level competitors.
No, I mean, I don't think I've ever come across or had a conversation with another top-level competitor in the condition they're in, and they've told me, like, no, I've never done any cardio. I think that might be a generalisation, but certainly for the condition we're looking at top-level, pro-level athletes. Yeah,
you're doing cardio. Now, one of the other things I think is worth talking about, while we're on the topic of fat burning and things like this, because I like to play about with the science a little bit, is this notion of high-intensity interval training. So we like high-intensity interval training.
Yes, the topic of what's high and intense.
Okay, well, will you tell us about that then? Tell us about what is high and what is intense.
You know, like when you hear people doing HIIT sessions of 30 to 40 minutes.
That's not HIIT.
That's not HIIT. It's just not HIIT.
It can't be physiologically.
It can't be. If you were still able to properly continue HIIT training post 10-15 minutes, really, and you're doing at the absolute balls out, you know, you can hardly breathe. It's just not, it wouldn't be doable. You couldn't do 30 to 40 minutes. I mean, 10 to 15 minutes is what I would say would be your maximum for high intensity.
And thereafter that, I mean, you're beginning to fade in terms of performance.
Yeah. I mean, you're certainly not going to be pushing to your maximal heart rate level by that point.
Definitely. I mean, the reason it can't be is because, I mean, high intensity interval is based on working anaerobically.
Yeah.
So we're burning through our anaerobic energy systems, and you've only got enough energy in those anaerobic energy systems to last you about 12 seconds.
Yeah.
And anything after that is aerobic.
Yeah.
So this is why we work in 10-second bursts.
Yeah.
With 20-second, 30-second, 40-second
Yeah, like your
rests.
Tabata kind of style.
Yeah, and that normally means doing in 15 minutes, 15 intervals, with however long the rest period's going to be. And you can alter that, but that's a typical HIIT session.
Yeah. I mean, some people like take their sprints or their short bursts up to 30 seconds. I'm one of those people, you know, 30 seconds on, 90 seconds off. That might be a good starting point for somebody who's starting to come into HIIT, and then you reduce them, but up the ante, obviously, in what you're doing. That's always been quite a nice ratio for me to really go for it. And then, you know, mid to the end of my preps, I'll reduce those down, and I'm doing like 10 to 15 seconds.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Maybe a good starting point.
Because your fitness is much higher. And
I mean, those sessions, though, they're hard.
Oh, yeah.
So if you do a session like that, you've got to expect that that's going to influence your training the next day.
Yeah, totally.
So if you're doing legs the next day, you're not going to be as recovered. You're doing back, a big body part.
Yeah.
And again, it's all about muscle preservation.
Yeah.
So you have to really think about the program and where you put these things in your sessions, in your weekly plan. Because, I mean, you said you're doing it on upper body days.
I never, ever do HIIT on leg days. Ever. Because
it makes sense,
you know, you're using your legs, you're hopefully training extraordinarily hard in your leg sessions, and you know, the last thing I'd want to do when I've all that blood in there and I'm working really hard is then go and do my HIIT sessions after that. So and it's counterproductive to the weight training that I've just done on my legs. So I always try and keep them on either active rest days or upper body days.
So it's muscle recovery, but it's CNS recovery.
Yeah.
Now, one of the big things we like to talk about with HIIT is EPOC. So that's post-exercise oxygen consumption. And the thing is, you'll get a lot of EPOC when we first start doing HIIT interval training. So that is, we'll still be consuming lots of oxygen there after we do the exercise, and we'll continue to get that fat burning going on. So people really love it for that.
Yeah.
However, as you get fitter and fitter and fitter, that EPOC begins to diminish.
Yeah.
So you don't get quite the same bang for your buck as you continue on. So we have to bear these sort of things in mind that, okay, it is a useful way to help us get in shape, but is it going to burn more calories than the low intensity steady state stuff? And does the low intensity steady state stuff, does it have to be low intensity to burn as many calories as as doing higher intensity where we might burn more fat? So we have to bear that in mind there. So I think we've covered just about everything on cardio there.
Yeah, I think so.
Anything else you want to talk about? You happy with that?
Yeah, I think so. I think like it's just one of those things that we gotta get your head down and just get it done as part of a competition prep.
Yeah. Favourite cardio tunes, podcasts?
Oh my god. Lots of you on my Instagram will probably hear my total eclectic mix of music. I do love a lot of house music. I like a lot of. I've got
high energy stuff. Yeah,
high energy stuff. But I mean, I'm like you. I can listen to heavy metal. Can listen to house. Can listen to some crazy trip hop. Like I love good like rap as well. So loads of stuff. We'll actually put some SoundCloud lists down there that we both listen to because that's always good fun to share some music tunes. Playlists.
Probably Sam Harris or Joe Rogan. He's my
Rogan, obviously. Yeah. Steady State in the morning.
Joe Rogan
all day.
All night. On it.
Oh my god. Total human optimization. Here we go. That's what whole prep is. Total human body optimization.
Definitely.
So
okay.
Yeah, we're hopefully covered lots there on cardio.
Any questions down below? We'd love to hear from you. And I think that's a wrap.
one
Okay.
time,
That's a
baby.
wrap.
But I'll never let you in again. I'll let you get to me. I'll let you get to me. Get to me. I'll let you get to me. I'll let you get to me. Get to me. I'll let you get to me. I'll let you get to me. Get to me.